All right, hey guys. I'm sure some of you have noticed we've kind of taken a break over the last couple weeks in producing some of these videos and getting them out for you. Reason for that, really good friend of mine, dear friend, mentor, my first business coach, my boss. His name is John Badostain, and John passed away just a little over a week ago. And it's been super tough, and love that guy so much. And he, in business, he made a bigger impact on me than anyone else for sure, and in many ways in my life as well, just my personal life. So so you might be wondering, like, well, what does this video have to do with me? And I'm sure I would be thinking that too. But that said, I wanted to share a little bit about John, because he's a special person and impacted so many lives. And so as I was thinking today, I'm like, I really need to get a video out, and I want to talk about John, but how do I do that? And so I just wanted to share with you just a few quick characteristics about him to kind of highlight a little bit about who he was as a person, because I think those things are highly applicable for me and for you, and focusing on those, I think, can have a really profound impact on your career and on the way that you impact other people. So one of the things I loved about John was he could see the big picture so well. And so John dealt with really tough circumstances in business, just like all of us do, in his personal life, and that's to say nothing of his battle with cancer. And yet he did not allow circumstances, negative circumstances, problems, challenges to get him down. That's not who he was. Things like that didn't rattle him. And I'm telling you, like, there were some big things that he dealt with in business, and but he persevered as well as anybody that I know. And so I love that about him. He was relentless in keeping his eye on the goal, where he was trying to go. And that way of thinking and viewing things had just a huge impact on me. It's not something that I was particularly good at, especially early in my career, and John was just, man, he was so helpful in that. Another thing that was distinct about John, I mean, he was a leader of hundreds of people, thousands of people, and so it's hard when you're in those kinds of positions to be able to touch everyone and reach everyone that's working underneath you. And yet John, he actually did care about his people so much. And it's not that he just cared, but he was able to convey that to people. When he was talking to you, you were the only person in the world at that moment, and he cared about you, and he cared about who you were and your struggles and opportunities in front of you, and he wanted to hear from you. And it didn't matter what your position was, it didn't matter what your role in the company was. Like, he wanted to know. And boy, that aspect of who he was as a person, it touched people, and it's why those that have worked for John over the last 20+ years were so saddened by the news, because they knew him. They felt like, even if they didn't know him really well, like he had poured into their lives. And man, just love that about him. And the third thing I wanted to mention was John, of course, as a leader, he's got people coming to him all the time with questions and problems and scenarios, and what do we do, and how are we going to do this? And yet, at the core level, he really was a coach. He didn't just tell people the answers to problems. He wasn't interested in portraying that he had everything figured out and that he was the all-wise person that people needed to come to. Not at all. And so he would ask people to help them think through, what is this problem? What's the challenge? And he would ask really probing questions to get them to think about the issue in ways that they maybe hadn't looked at before, a different angle, a different perspective. And so what that allows people to do is to grow through the issue, to take ownership of the problem as opposed to just going and solving it by getting an answer. And man, I just love that about John, and that's something I know for me in my life in coaching people, something I try to apply every single day. So anyway, I could go on. I could go on all day. There's some just incredible aspects of who John was as a person and his impact on me. But again, I felt like if I shared that with you today, that might inspire some of you to want to embrace some of those characteristics and think about how you could incorporate that into your life. Maybe that's with your assistants, your team, the culture that you're developing, and so you might think about that for sure. I'll close with this. I did an interview of John. This would have been, I think, 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, and so we're going to link to that video on the YouTube page that you're probably watching this on, or inside an email or other social media. Look for the other link. It'll say John Badostain interview or something like that. And it's about a 10-minute video, and I'm just so thankful that I still have that. It's a little piece of gold, and it's John actually talking about the importance of a life plan and a business plan and kind of his routine, a little bit about his routine in doing those, a life plan and a business plan in his own life on an annual process. And I know you'll get a lot out of it. And I know John would be thrilled to know that part of him that he shared a couple years ago with people via that interview is still being used to help others. I know that for sure. So, all right, that's it for today. John, love you. God bless you. And thanks. We'll talk to you guys again soon.